table. Step 1 is you find the most negative entry, in the objective row. So in our objective row, you've got it written down still. What is the most negative entry at the moment? The -12. Yeah, that one there. Okay. So we are dealing with the Y column. So in our example, that means we're dealing with the Y column because of the -12 that was in it. You call that column the pivotal column. So you call that column the pivotal column. Step 2, the second step, is you calculate what are called theta values. And to get the theta values, a theta value equals the value number at the end of the row divided by the value in the pivotal column. The value in the pivotal column. But you only do it for if this thing here is a positive number. But you only do it for positive values. So, if you all managed to get that written down.
What is it, the value of what?
Calculate.
It's the value number, which is, in other words, what is over here, the value number, divided by the value in the pivotal column. Now, our pivotal column we identified as being this column here. Now what you actually do is you usually arrow your pivotal column. Okay, so what we are going to do, we're going to do the number in this column divided by the number in this column, as long as the number in this column is not negative, and they will give us our theta values. And you write your theta values usually over here on the right.
It is negative.
Here this one will be negative for the top row, so we don't do it. For the second row, we will be doing that number divided by that number, and that will not be negative. So for the second row, we do work out a theta value. It'll be 120, which is what's in the value column, divided by the value in our pivotal column, which is 3.
So if it is negative, you just don't do one?
If it's negative, you just don't do one, yeah. So theta value there is going to be 40. And for the row underneath, our theta value will be 150 divided by 4. What's 150 divided by 4? It is 37.5, yeah, or 37.5. I'm going to stick to fractions. 37.5. Are we okay with that? Okay. Back to our instructions. We've had step 1 and we've had step 2. What we need now is step 3. In step 3, we identify the minimum theta value. We identify the minimum theta value. So we, in our example a minute ago, had a theta value of 40 and we had a theta value of 37.5, which is our minimum one. which is the smaller of those two. It really is easy. 37.5, yeah. Okay, that's the minimum one. You normally label and arrow it. So if I go back to my diagram, okay, that's the smallest one there, the 37.5. So you normally arrow that one and label that one the minimum. And that now has identified for you your pivotal row. So this now is we're going to refer to this one here as our pivotal row. So, if we can write down now under here, this identifies the pivotal row. So we now have a pivotal column and we have a pivotal row. What do you think happens where they meet?
The answer.
Well, it's not the answer, it's the pivot. Okay? Where the pivotal row and where pivotal column meet, that is the pivot. So if you can write down where the pivotal row and the pivotal column meet, that is the pivot, and when we find our pivot we circle it. So, going back to our tableau, we had already identified here a pivotal column, we've identified here a pivotal row, so we circle that value, and that 4 is our pivot.